So according to Jerome Powell, no QE soon. What does that mean for altcoins? Also, I see some people talk about a certain chart that shows like, hey, it's getting a little creepy out there for Bitcoin, and I want to go over that as well. And then how would that look for altcoins? What if, just what if, right? What if Bitcoin is going to top out earlier than usual? Then how should we play this cycle? Like, I don't think it's likely, but what if? Well, we should be prepared, guys. We should be prepared. So welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell notification on. I won't, like, I will always try to stick with what we have and not continuously try to shill you kind of bullshit during a market that's not doing that well, or is doing well. I'm not doing that anyway, right? But we really need to have a realistic view on the market. And once the market does what we expect it to do, then we can be prepared enough to, you know, talk about specific certain altcoins. And I will mention here and there one or two that I may invested in myself. But overall, understanding the market is key, right? That's absolutely key. So what's interesting, the first thing that I want to mention is this. You probably have seen this, but this is what Jerome Powell said about QE. And a lot of people, they now say like, hey, we need QE in order to get an alt season. This news came out yesterday.
What kind of conditions would have to happen for you to start going back to quantitative easing?
You know, so go to quantitative easing. You know, that's a tool we tend to use when we're at the effective lower bound and we can't cut interest rates anymore. So nothing like what you're seeing in the current day. It's a different test for stopping quantitative tightening, but we would use QE going forward only in a situation where rates are at zero, and you know we're a long way from zero now.
So that you think that, again, just generally speaking, then, if things were to remain stable, you'll continue to unwind the balance sheet, you'll continue the quantitative tightening. Can't give me a range on this. Is that what I hear you saying?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, great. Well, I encourage you to keep doing that because, again, I think that's important to be able to make sure that you've got powdered for the next issue that we may face. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you.
So he was very clear. If we still can cut rates, then there's no need to do QE, right? And makes sense. Like, and it wasn't completely unexpected because I would have assumed that a lot of people hear this and they'd be like, okay, fuck, it's over for altcoins. Let's get into Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin dominance spiking up really hard. However, that's not what happened, right? The Bitcoin dominance is up with 0.15% on the day. Like, when it comes to the dominance, nothing happened, right? Why is that? Well, I think a lot of people kind of expected this, basically, right? We know what the rates are. We know that they still can cut a lot. But it's also, like he said, for stopping quantitative tightening, it's a different test. So that we don't get QE soon, you can you can forget about that, unless you know something within now and 2 months completely breaks. But if something completely breaks, you will also see the market crash really hard, right? Like we had with COVID. There was no reason for QE, and then COVID came and everything went to shit, and they just started QE, and the money printer was turned on, right? But in order to do that, the market first has to do something really fucking terrible, right? So given, let's assume the market doesn't do something really terrible, then let's forget about QE for now, right? At least for the coming half a year or so. Now, is that a bad thing for our altcoins? Look, not gonna lie. QE is going to help the altcoin market to go up for sure, right? Matter of fact, QE is pretty much a guarantee for a big alt season. However, like we discussed on the channel earlier as well, if we look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, so if we look at the alt season chart and we overlay the Fed balance sheet on this, you can basically see that we do not necessarily need QE because the biggest alt season was in 2017. And there we didn't have QE. There, the QT wasn't going on as well, right? So what you basically see on this chart, every time QT starts, there's no alt season. So it's basically, we always have an alt season unless we have QT. Yeah, and it is a fact that there's kind of a lot of QT, of course, lately. So if QT comes to an end, we can still see a Fed alt season based on this. Now, like I said earlier, at some point it will come to an end. Otherwise, what would happen? The Fed balance sheet just slowly goes to zero, right? And that's not going to happen. Of course, they will print a way out of that. So if you ask me, like, hey, is alt season going to happen? If it's based on the whole balance sheet of the Fed, then yeah, then it's pretty much guaranteed that it's going to happen. But then it's more a question when, right? Is it going to happen this bull market? Is it going to happen next bull market? Is it going to happen while Bitcoin is still above 100K or below 100K? Like, these are the things that we don't know, right? That's what we don't know yet. It may come in 2 months. It may come in a year based on that, right? So that's the big question. Now, is that really a problem for altcoins? Look, one thing, if you are investing in the altcoin market purely based on I need an alt season to do well, then look, like I said, at some point you will get it, right? But the longer it takes, the more, the higher the chances, of course, that the coins that you invested in will die by then, right? Therefore, I've preached a lot on the channel lately, like, hey, at least be in coins that are relative strong against Bitcoin. That just helps you from getting wrecked if Bitcoin goes down, and if that altcoin goes down harder on this Bitcoin pair, yeah, then that altcoin on the dollar pair is not gonna look pretty, right? What's my expectation? I honestly still think that we're gonna get an alt season this year. My previous prediction was end of 2024, beginning 2025, right? That's cyclical. That was the best bet to take. Could that still happen? Yeah, I mean, we have an FOMC meeting in March. Who knows what happens between now and then? Something does break and they will stop QT. Could happen. Could still play out like that. However, if that doesn't happen, yeah, then it might come later, right? And that's a question that I can't answer, because if it does depend on QE, QT, that's something that nobody knows. Even Jerome Powell himself doesn't know that yet, right? So if you ever see anybody talking about, oh yeah, that's when QE will, bullshit, right? Data, it's not like that info isn't there. However, does it mean that altcoins are fucked? No. Look, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair outperforming is called an alt season. Have we seen an alt season yet? No, of course not. I saw a couple people tweeting like, oh, we had an alt season around December last year. These people, like, no, right? Of course, we have seen moments where altcoins slightly outperform Bitcoin for a bit. But if you want to call every single bounce an alt season, then you have low boundaries. Right? An alt season is where altcoins durably overall outperform Bitcoin really hard for a decent amount of time, right? Otherwise, we can call any bounce an alt season. We had an alt season in 2021. We had an alt season in 2017, partly in 18 still, right? Until April, give or take, right? These were the two alt seasons. However, what some people might miss is this. Although they are not called alt seasons, we still have moments where altcoins do pretty well against Bitcoin for a month or two, maybe a little more, right? However, this, for example, this right here, right? This was a pretty big bounce, 70%, right? Where altcoins went up, on average against Bitcoin. Fact is, though, that if we overlay Bitcoin on that chart, you can see that happened during Bitcoin sitting at $25,000 and the top was $42,000, right? So yeah, we can say like, yeah, altcoins did very well against Bitcoin right there, right? And that was also the moment where altcoins on the dollar pair overall did pretty well as well. Because if we overlay that chart, you can see that that was this huge parabolic move. But let me tell you this. This, again, was that Bitcoin was sitting between 25 and 42K. Okay, Bitcoin is now 100, 90, 100, right? So if we now, with the current Bitcoin prices, see a move like that, then it's still by far not an alt season, but altcoins will grow very hard on the dollar pair, right? So do we need an alt season? Look, if you bought your altcoins at the December top or in 2024, the March top or wherever, and you aped in at the high prices, yeah, then you might need a lot to play even or to recover from that, right? If you have a pretty, nice DCA, maybe took some profits over time, then you don't need a lot. Again, Bitcoin is now at 100K. This chart shows that it occasionally bounces really hard. Yeah, we need such a small bounce right now while Bitcoin is at 100K to put altcoins with their dollar amounts up very high. That good explosive gains in the altcoin market can be done pretty easily, actually. And I would say, I spoke to a lot of people and they said, man, I get the message, but I am down 80%. You can't deny that fucking sucks. And yeah, that sucks. I would say you had enough faith to believe in the altcoin market when it was higher, right? Whatever the reason may have been. But you apparently the market was high. You took all your money and put it in. So that's how much faith you had. We are in the exact same market right now. Try to realize that. But the prices are lower, right? That's the only thing. It's not that the products are worse. It's not that things are broken. It's not nothing. It's the same market, lower prices, discounts. I would say, I don't know how, but if you are in the opportunity to do so, might just lower your average entry, right? If you bought a coin at $1, $1.20, 90 cents, whatever, and it's now sitting at 15 cents, make a couple purchases here maybe, right? Lower your average entry to 50 cents, right? Then you need a 3-4x to play even instead of a 9 or maybe even a 10x for some people, right? And then you can think about profits again. Personally, I'm in good profits. So for me, it's easy to talk, right? I discussed a lot on the channel, buying notes early, getting pre-sales, make some nice returns, taking profits at serious grades, like at highs, buying very low, right? I don't know how much of that was luck. I don't know about that. But I get, for me, that's easy to talk. If I was down 80%, I will feel like shit as well. But I do know that happened to me in earlier cycles as well. And the solution would have been lower your entry and have patience, right? Have patience. Being scared or even sell at the lows so far, that's the worst thing that you can do, right? You had a chance to sell for 3 years, right? And now you want to sell. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? So don't do that, at least, I would say. But that's what I would do. Now, I want to talk about a chart that I also saw Eric Crown talking about this chart, and he discussed the USDT dominance, right? Now, the USDT dominance shows how much money in crypto is sitting in USDT. And that's, at the moment, 4.56%, right? So take the total market cap of everything, 4.5% sitting in USDT. Now, if the USDT dominance goes up, it means people take profits from Bitcoin or altcoins and put it into USDT, so the market goes down, basically, right? So this chart going up is bad for the bulls, basically, and this chart going down is good for the bulls. Now, what we see is the following. We are now in a range. This top side of this range is huge resistance. The lower side of this range is huge support. Right? So then it's a question like, which side is it going to go? Right? We don't know that. Like, if we purely look at this chart, some people said, yeah, double bottom. I do look at it and be like, there's a low, and there's a lower low, right? And then we have high, lower high, so far, lower high. So actually, since a couple of years, this chart is looking bearish, but it's holding these levels pretty well, right? Now, the thing is that if we stare blind at this chart only, and you look at this like, yeah, this can break up again, then that's a good reason for you to be bearish, right? Although I would say it can just as easily go down, right? We just went to the top side of this range and it showed like, oh yeah, okay, well, just a wick, no more, right? So there's no strength for the bears here. However, if you stare blind at this, you feel like, yeah, it can go up. Yeah, that's bad. However, what I usually notice is that people forget to mention one little important thing on about this. And that's the following. Whenever this chart is going up, it means people put money into USDT, right? Here, for example, we went up, so people took profits. But if you overlay the altcoin market like I just did, you see that the altcoin market still from that point, when it was going basically up only from there, the altcoin market went from $140 billion to the highs of 450, right? And that's the average altcoin market. If you look at an AVAX or whatever came out in that time, did an easy 20x from that point still. Right? So you can take a look at this chart and be like, oh yeah, it's all going to top out right now. That's not necessarily true. And why is that not true? Because there's more in life than USDT, right? There's also a thing called new money. Right? And that's the thing that people, they look at this chart a lot and be like, it's going into USDT, so it's over. But you should not forget that there's also new money coming into the market, right? And that's, for example, what we see right now at this particular moment, right? USDT dominance, it's sitting at the same level as where it was in April 2024, right? But if you look at Bitcoin, April 2024 Bitcoin was half basically of what it is right now. Well, slightly less than half, but it was way lower than what it is right now. How come? Because new money was hitting the market. If you look at the total crypto market, just everything, you see that it increases. Right? And what I showed on an earlier video as well, if you put this on an inverse scale, then it's quite funny. If you look at it like this, I look at this and be like, man, if this was an altcoin, I would fucking sell this right now before it's too late. Like, it's going down, that cat bounced, down, support, that cat bounced, down to that support, and then break, and now resistance, and now it's a matter of time before it gets rejected right there. Right? Bearish. Luckily, it's inverted, right? And that's our total crypto market. Bullish chart, really bullish chart, right? But as you can see, more money is coming into the market, whether it might be USDT, Bitcoin, altcoin, doesn't matter. It's in the market, right? The money is already there. So it's now a matter of just, flowing to wherever you have your position. Right? And that's what you need to think about. The money is already there. So we have to be strategic right now. Like, okay, where is the money flowing next? And I will make a couple videos about that, about what I think is going to happen. That's not the answer, of course, but just what I think is going to happen. So overall, fucking bullish, actually. Now, also, you should be a little careful when you, I want to wrap it up, but if people, there will be people soon and they will say Bitcoin top is in, right? They're already saying that here and there, but soon there will be people. Why? the last year there was a lot of talk about a left translated cycle, and we're now in Q1 2025. So if it's going to be left translated, then somewhere in this period, then that should top, right? Now, I have like a lot of reasons to believe that the Bitcoin top is not in. And well, one reason for that is basically that if you take all top indicators, or at least 30 of them, right? 30 different top indicators, pi cycle top, pure multiple, MVRVZ score, you know, the indicators that are not perfect, but overall super helpful. But if you take all of them, none of them have flashed yet. Not a single one, right? Not a single one. Like, I get that every indicator is going to be right, but is each and every indicator going to be wrong? Like, it's a small chance, right? But even if they start flashing, right? For example, the pi cycle top indicator. A lot of people are focused on only that thing, right? And that's fine. But one thing that I do want to mention about this indicator was created somewhere in 2019 or 20, I think, right? So yeah, the times before that, in hindsight, it had it all right, right? But the first one that it actually had to predict was wrong. I mean, technically, we could talk about, doesn't matter. This was the top. This was a higher price, so that was the top. Like, you can, if you compare this with a mountain, you can walk up on it and be like, I'm technically at the top, and look up like, it's higher right there. No, go walk. You're not there yet, right? So that was a little wrong, but whatever. Even if this is going to flash, people might feel like, okay, get out. But it doesn't mean you have to get out of altcoins, right? Because altcoins and Bitcoin can be very different. Same thing as people here thought like, hey, the bull market, the bottom is in, the bull market is back on. Let's buy altcoins. No, there's a bull market for Bitcoin, and there's a bull market for altcoins. There's a bear market for Bitcoin, there's a bear market for altcoins, right? These are different. Because again, if you look at altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, if you overlay that on this chart, you can see here was the Bitcoin bottom, right? But we're now pretty much 2 years later, and the altcoin on the Bitcoin pair bottom is not even in yet, right? But yeah, same it was over here, right? Bitcoin bottom, altcoin is bottomed, like that was also 2 years later, right? So be a little careful with that. Now, again, also, if you overlay the altcoin market on its dollar pair, then that's pretty funny because here, yeah, you know, we had the signal, pi cycle top, flash, sell your shit, right? But at that point, the altcoin market was sitting at $250 billion, right? Look what it did. The biggest run after that still was about to come, especially if you look at a lot of individual altcoins, for example, in AVAX or so, right? Yeah, here, Bitcoin, again, top according to the pi cycle indicator, but AVAX was sitting at a decent $3 billion market cap. Yeah, it still went 10x from there, right? So don't stare too blind at that. Now, also, what's quite interesting is that if you look at the pi cycle top prediction, because that's also something that exists, then it takes, because the pi cycle, what is the pi cycle top indicator? It's a combination of the 350-day moving average and the 111. And if they cross, then, you know, the top for Bitcoin should be in. Now, so far, not a cross by far. And they projected based on how it moved the last 14 days, right? So if it keeps on moving, and it won't do that exactly, but if it keeps on moving like it did for the last 14 days, then the cross should take place December 24 of this year at a price of $263,000 for Bitcoin. Look, not saying that that will happen. If it was that easy, then okay. But yeah, if we're gonna look at a chart like this and be like, oh, it's so accurate, okay, then also let's take a look at the projection of this, right? So we still have some time to go according to this. But overall, I do think the point of this video is there is, for now, no QE. That's clear, right? Okay, fine, that's off the table. Is there a reason to be worried? No, again, the biggest alt season, we didn't have QE. So stop staring blind at QE. We need QE. There's like, no, nothing shows that we need QE, right? so far, what it does show is that QT is not helpful. So that needs to stop. If that stops, we can see a fat alt season. Cool. If that doesn't stop, there's always the chance that we also can get an alt season because of other reasons, right? Let's say just the money flow. At a certain point, people will take their profit from Bitcoin, right? And again, they will feel like, have I made enough? No, here Bitcoin was a pi cycle top, right? Well, fine. People sold their Bitcoin. But look what happened with altcoins on their Bitcoin pair. It shot up with pretty much 2x against Bitcoin. While Bitcoin, here, not a big difference. So also kind of 2x on average, right? The high caps may not did that much. The low caps did 5, 10x. The newer coins like AVAX, 10x, Solana did crazy, Axie, So even if there won't be the stop of QT, there's so much money to be made in this market. I think we're now really staring blind at that fact. These days, everybody be like, when is retail gonna come in? When stop of QT? When QE? Waiting. And in the meantime, there are a lot of good projects that we can actually talk about, use, build, fund, whatever the hell we can do with it, right? And I think that once that psychological shift is taking place, that would help a lot as well. And like I said, people eventually made enough money with coin A, so they go to coin B, right? People, they bought XRP at 40 cents. They waited 7 years for it to see at $3, right? Do you think these people are going to hold it? I don't know. I think most people eventually will be like, okay, yeah, considering the fact that it's XRP, maybe we should take what we can get. Put it into something else. Are they going to put it in Bitcoin for maybe another 2x? I don't think so. They're going to put it in an whatever, right? So I want to wrap it up right here. I promise to keep my videos within 15 minutes. So if you watch this at 2x speed, then I kept my promise. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was a little helpful. I know it's a lot of probably reason for YouTubers to make a lot of panic videos. Still, I feel like I cannot panic at the lows, right? And if you are really concerned, then maybe look at this chart and be like, you know what? With the next best bounce, I'm going to take a good amount of capital out or put it in Bitcoin or put it in, something safer, whatever. But capitulating at the lows because of what kind of news soever is never helpful, right? Now the news might be, oh, no QE. As far as that matter. Here the news was whatever. Here the news was whatever. It doesn't matter. Lows are lows. Selling there is never smart. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Take care.